Action.
Action. So what I wanted to show you is this. I gathered all the information I could find, and it's on a folder on the cloud. I called it Lederman Krzepice Częstochowa, and it has all of the information. I will share, since it's on the cloud, please give me or I will send you links so you can share and download the information. If you want to give me your emails, or if you want, it's already, Joe and Zell are already part of the shared folder. And I would in any case ask you to copy the information, download it to your computer, since I'm freeing place there on the cloud once in a few months. And this is, I guess, 500 megabytes. It includes the documents and information you sent me, and also what I was able to find. You could see here a few subfolders. There are the Częstochowa and Krzepice pictures, with the old pictures of the Aleja and that we have seen. It wants me to rename everything. These are all pictures of Krzepice that we'll have a look at tomorrow. This is the Krzepice cemetery. Once again, this building at number 20. I'm sorry, this is the number... No, this is the number 20.
20 from the other angle.
Yeah. No, once again, sorry. This is number 7. This is it. And so those are the old pictures from the town. And I want to go over a few sources that are the main sources that I use, and those are books of residence and vital records. So you can, if you have here the booklets I made. In any case, also the booklets are also here. Materials for Lederman book. It's the pictures I was using, and also the booklets by PDF form and by Word, PowerPoint. So, books of residence. Books of residence are great sources because they're not, unlike vital records, it's not records that are set in time. Vital records is when someone is born, married, or dies. There is records for this, and it's supposed to be registered in the civil registry, right? It's not a religious community registry, Jewish community registries or something. It's a civil registry, but it is done separately for every religious denomination in Poland. So there are separate books for Jews, for Catholics, for Lutherans, for Muslims, or every religious denomination has separate books. But those are just, one moment in time. It's a freezing of an event. And a vital record looks like this. It's a story written, and the story is usually, in that day, in this town, came to the office of the civil registry in Częstochowa, where I'm residing as clerk, this man, and he came with witness. This man is Josek Matus Lederman. He's 43 years old. He's a shoemaker, and he came with witnesses, Mordechai Kurland, 40 years old, Szkolnik in the Gmina, and they were testifying that on that day, this year, on 12 o'clock, was born a baby girl from his lawfully married wife, Sura Chaya Żółtobrodzka, age 42, and the child's name is given as Dwoja. It's a story. Marriage is also a story, but this is a freeze of a moment in time. Unlike books of residence, which are ongoing registries. So the town has a book of residence, and it's open. And if anything changes in a person's life, it should write so in the book of residence. So another kid is born, you add another line. Someone dies, you write it at the note. Someone moves, you also write it at the notes. So and there are books of sometimes don't have it. Those books did not survive. In several cases, not all years, not all letters, not all streets, yada yada. Krzepitsa and Częstochowa has quite full registry like this. So I was able to find in books of registries, and we're lucky enough it's also partly indexed, so I knew which I needed to go to volume number 5, page number 267, and so on and so on. And there are records in Krzepitsa for the Ledermans, not the Fuchses, by the way. And there is a full registry in Częstochowa, but I couldn't find nor the Fuchses nor the Ledermans in Częstochowa. Why? I don't know.
But were people compelled to come and register if they moved house or if they had, child or whatever?
It really depends when. Kids usually yes. Moving houses depends. Late 19th century you less needed this, but you needed as times moved on, bureaucracy took more and more control of your life, and if you're moving, you want things getting to your.
Yeah.
It's a postal issue.
Yeah.
Not only like the postal, you can tell people send me letters to a different address under the name this and that. It will get to you, but the government has quite a strong control on our lives today, right? When tax return money we wanted to get to our address, or we need to be registered in address to get a parking permit to park around. So as times grew forward, people needed the government services or the municipality services, and the registry was needed for them in many cases, to go to a specific high school, to whatever. So I wanted to go over those kind of registries and show them what they are. You have most of them in the booklet, but I want to show you here. You can find it in KLS Krzepitsa Lederman. KLS means Księgi Ludności Stałej, Book of Permanent Residence. And then you have those pictures.
And that's sorted by house or by person name?
By both. Every page here has the number of house, 287, 287A, and in 287 you can see lives a Goldzak family, and in 287A lives Berek Zinde Lederman, male here, female here. So Berek Zinde Lederman, this is written in Polish.
Where did he live?
House number 287A in Krzepitsa.
Uncle Bernard.
Uncle Bernard, yeah. Do you know, okay. His wife and 2 children were killed.
Just a second. Parents' name, Josek Matus and Chayasura Żutobrodzka, born 13th of September 1890 in Wolbram, not in Krzepitsa.
He was born in Wolbram?
Yeah,
This is what this says. And his wife, Anna Leonora Lederman z Rosenfeldów, so maiden name Rosenfeld. Her parents' name, Israel Yosef and Rachel Englander.
Wow.
And she was born in Tarnów Zawal.
Where is Tarnów Zawal?
Zawale.
Where is that?
Tarnów is a town a little eastern of Krakow.
Oh yeah, Tarnów. We went through it, remember? They're
And
building in Tarnów. That's where A.B. Winter was.
And here there is information. He's Jonate marriage, he's Jewish, he's a prime resident, and he's a watchmaker or watch repairman, Zegarmistrz. And in the notes it says that he got a passport, in the consulate in Lipsk, so Leipzig in Germany, for travel
Yeah.
on 1932.
Yeah, he was he was doing business in Germany, and he was based in Chemnitz. He lived in Chemnitz.
So it doesn't say so, but that he lives there and so on. He's still registered probably in Kshepitz, and his wife is Zapisano. In 1930, she's registering in Częstochowa. So, and I did not translate all of the columns because there are about 14, and some of them, like, we know they are Jewish. We know who is married and not married. And so I translated only the essentials. Right? Name, surname, date of birth, place of birth, and interesting notes about them. What did I
Oh, that is your page. The blue, the spreadsheet.
The spreadsheet, you have it
No,
on...
I'm saying, but that is a
made
spreadsheet.
it.
Yeah.
You've made a replication of what that data
Yeah.
is.
This does not come from the original book of
No
residence.
problem. Okay.
And so the most, probably the most important, or the two most important ones, is the one for Yosek Matis and family, and then the one for Leib and Leah. So the one for Yosek Matis, this is how he looks, and you have it in your pages, of course. Books number, house number 287A, Yosek Matis Lederman, born 27 of August 1863 in Posada Volbrom, and his wife born in Kshepitze, and the kids that we know and not know. So it starts here with Berek Zindel. It doesn't have Nehemia, and it doesn't have the suggested grade that we would have to look in Kshepitze. Berek Zindel, and this is Russian. Chaim David, Leib, Dvora, and then Kaila Lederman Zhuto-Brodsky.
Kyla was the second wife,
Yes.
Written in
and she
Russian.
was Zolta-Brodsky.
So this is written in Polish.
Oh.
This is, you can see that this is an ongoing registry, right?
Yeah.
Different handwritings, different languages even.
Mm.
So for her, there are no names of parents and date of birth, but under her, there are two. Under her are two people, Wolf and Braindla, born 1904 and 1906, and
Yeah.
here the parents' names are Yosek Matus and Kaila. So you would have assumed that this is the second wife, and we know that Chaya Sura died 1904, right?
1904.
So Kayla's also
So how old was Devorah when she died?
Vova
And that was
was 5 years old.
Devorah was 5 when she died.
Yes.
And how old was Leon at that time?
Leib Leon was 8.
So those two were adopted out to Yosef Zolta-Brodsky's house, his family. Zayda and Devorah ended up living in their household. Kayla didn't want to keep any of the children, so they were all adopted out to
Yosef
sisters.
Zolta-Brodsky, the brother of...
Bernard went to the Orbach cousin, another first cousin.
But Joe, the Zolta-Brodsky wives, the two wives were sisters, right?
And there must have been a brother called
Yeah.
Zolta-Brodsky
Who was Yosef's father?
Yosef's father.
Zundel.
Was his name Zundel?
Mm.
Well, he adopted Leon,
That's
Leib,
interesting,
and
'cause he-
Devorah.
So it's interesting that one sister became the husband, the wife, and the other brother
Adopted the children
adopted the children because the sister
because the
didn't-
sister didn't want them.
And Kayla had children.
Two, Wolf and
one of them is in that.
I've got
photo.
photographs of Wolf
Wolf and
and Brindle. And
Ah.
Brindle has these little glasses. She's an intellectual. Wolf was a socialist. And Wolf also, I have a photograph of him. He went into the Polish Free Army. I have a photograph of him in his army uniform with having a Tommy gun.
Is that in the Dropbox?
So how
Yeah,
come on
it's
this
somewhere,
sheet
yeah.
here where we've got Kayla, we've got the parents' names are empty, and yet we know that the Kayla was the sister?
That's right.
Once again, I do not argue with documents. I read and understand them. You can see Kayla, parents' names, rubric is empty. I can't or I don't need or have to explain it. I'm just
But who was she supposed to be the sister of?
The wife, the first wife.
First wife.
She was the unmarried
Oh, but he
sister.
also, Devorah also
They didn't
has
have-
the
so when
parents'
Chaya
names.
Sura died, he
He married the
sister.
sister who was unmarried.
Maybe the, what do you call them? Those,
Leverett, no.
the two dots when you say like the
Yibum.
Oh, yeah.
Yibum, they didn't
Yeah.
have Yibum.
No, the same as
same as
below.
above.
It was
Maybe
her
it's
Yibum.
faded.
Why not?
Yeah.
Maybe they don't need to do it because
So,
it's the same
but,
period.
yeah, so she should be the also parents, Zalman and Handler and Chaskell, Nay Chaskell, up there.
Chaskel.
Haskell.
Yeah, and I was using, of course, the Polish spelling for this, so CH is Cha. And here, so at the right side of this page, there are interesting notes. About Josek Matus, it said he died in Krzepice 11th of February 1928. So Josek Matus also died in Krzepice 28. Leib's grandfather.
He did die in 28.
Yes.
Because you said to me, I thought it was 1928, and you told me it was 1925.
Maybe the hay looks like a hay, but maybe it's
It's
a
a
hay.
chet.
Where do you have the
Oh,
information?
We have a
photo.
picture of a photo of the
So what
grave.
Ah, the grave. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Shepherd.
So
In
we
Shep-
thought it was a hay.
Well, we
so-
thought we weren't sure whether it was Shepherd's or in Chensterholt.
So
But we have the picture of the grave.
this
Now
is,
we can confirm that.
we'll go tomorrow to the Krzepice Civil Registry office and we'll ask also for this death registry,
Okay.
because records younger than 100 years are not kept in archives. They are kept in the Civil Registry office in the town, and it's not publicly accessible. I was there. I was talking to the lady, and she found everything, and everything is there. But she said, I can't show you because you're not of the family. When you come with the family, we'll show you everything.
Okay.
So it's part of our trip for tomorrow. So he died 1928. For Chaya Sura, died 1904. And then for other kids, so Berek Zindel, it's the passport. Later, Leib says, see page 422. Another brother, see Chaim David, see page 422. Leib, see page 423. And Dvorah says married Shlomo Melech Verdiger and was registered in Sosno, right?
Sosnovich.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
Who's the shadchan for that? Did you say Ellie?
and you have it right. It's written there at the.
Yeah,
Ellie, who- Ellie?
Ellie.
Ellie, you told me who was Ellie. You told Ellie.
Right.
Ellie, you told me who the shadchan was for Devorah. And
Shlomo
Shlomo
Elimelech,
Elimelech?
it says, Shlomo Elimelech.
Shlomo Melech Verdiger.
Yeah.
Maya.
Who, the two
Melech.
Shlomis today are named after
Shlomo
him.
Elimelech.
Shlomo America, Shlomo Elimelech, for sure.
Yeah. This is the family for Chaim David
I thought it
Ladoma.
was Shlomo Maya.
No.
Ellie
Melech.
Melech.
No, this says Maya here.
It
I
says
said
Maya
Maya.
there. That's what I'm saying.
No, so it's a mistake. I need to
Melech.
You
correct
need to
this.
fix it.
Yes, this is Melech.
Melech.
Elimelech.
It says
Melech.
Melech. It doesn't
Yiddish
say
Melech
Elimelech.
is Elimelech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, every week in the newspaper, Shlomo America sponsors a business column, Business and Halacha.
That's right.
And Shlomo Elimelech ben Nehemiah.
And so
You
the
can't
registry
forget
for Chaim David.
It's to Australia.
has, I didn't bring that. So we have here, we know Chaim David's parents, and then his wife Raidla Zhutak, parents names Usher and Chaya Kind is her
Yeah, I know. Mimi Kind in Sydney.
Yeah, you meant.
She called me once. She said, Chaim. She said my great grandfather was Chaim David. She said her great grandfather. She lives in Sydney, Mimi Kind. She was the lawyer of Woolworths. That's how we came across her.
So, I mean, Chaim
She
David
introduced
married.
herself to me. She
So,
was the lawyer.
Chaim David married a daughter
Yeah,
who, like, his in-laws' maiden name was Kind.
and she's related. She lives in.
I mean,
Sydney.
related, but she's
Yeah.
it's. I don't
Ah,
understand
through the
how
kin
Chaim
side.
David is
Yeah, I
her
understand.
ancestor. he
It was
married-
the
That's
kin
exactly what I said
side.
this
He
morning.
didn't even marry Kind.
Ah.
He
Two
married the
cousins.
daughter.
So their
of-
cousin. It's. I tell you what. Henry Lederman had kind first cousins on the other side.
They were very much
And that's
possible.
what it was. And also in that same family, Alan Shepherd, who went to school with me, his mother was also a kind or something.
He also had the situation that Zoltek was a brother of
Żółtak.
Zoltek. A sister was married to a isn't that right? Was married to a Zoltek on Leah's side,
Yeah.
and now you're saying that there was a
Żółtak on the
Letterman.
Lederman side.
On the
On the
Lederman side. So
Lederman
which
side.
one was the first one? Who introduced the cousin?
Koszepice. It's a small town. Everyone knows each other. You don't need them to introduce you, right?
Okay.
I watched Film on the Roof last week, didn't we? We know what it is.
So, it says their kids, Shimon Lederman, born 1913, Kalma Lederman, born 1918, Sura, born 1921, Miriam, 1922, Chemia, born 1925.
That's it. So Chemia's born 1925. That's Henry. And Shimon 1913 was his oldest brother. And Henry and Shimon survived.
15 or 12 years apart.
Yeah.
He told me that, when he was in the camp, he wouldn't talk about his period within that camp that we just visited.
Who? Henry.
He broke down and cried. But he would talk about the period just after the Russians came in. He basically became a smuggler. And he was, like his brother was behind behind the Russian lines. And he managed to pull him back by getting up to the mischief that he got up to.
He was
So
quite
who
a
was
character.
Henry
in the
Lederman's
character.
father?
Chaim David.
Oh, okay.
But now I realise the kin connection. Now I understand it.
And once again, this is the Leib Lederman, Leah Fuchs family. So Leib Lederman, daughter to Yosef Matheson, Chaya Sura. Leah Fuchs, daughter of Anchel and Shifra, maiden name Steinitz. And the kids. So Sura is Sura Eidla, right? Born 1918. Then there's Eidla, only Eidla, born
Which
1919.
is weird that they gave the two kids the same name.
Not the same name. One is Eidla, the other is Sura Eidla.
Interesting. Sarah's real name was
What the-
Surah
I'm-
How
Ayla.
many kids do
I'm
you
not
know you're
arguing
gonna
with the
have?
documents.
No, she
And-
was the oldest.
And you
Surah.
know her as Sala.
Yeah,
Yeah, we know Sarah.
Referred to as Sala.
yeah.
Official name in the registry, Sura Eidla. And then there's Anshel, 1921, and Itzhak Hersh, born 1923.
And Adela, what's her on her birth certificate? What name is she?
Adela.
Is it actually
Once again, not birth certificate. This is a book of residence, and she's Eidla.
Adela?
A-J-D-L-A.
Also, Adela was also Idla. Surah
It's very
Idla and
strange.
Adela
You
and
don't do
Idla.
such things.
No, because maybe they didn't expect to have a second daughter, so they named the first one.
And then
with
what they
two-
run out of names.
Run out of no, they wanted to make
It's a
sure
very strange thing to
if
do.
they had the opportunity to call someone.
Yeah.
Adel, Sarah Adel, and the second one's Adel. Like, it's all bizarre.
Well, when Mum's first response when Yosef was born, what, you couldn't think of any other name?
Yeah.
True. No, but these are two sisters with the same
We've
name.
got two brothers. We've got
But
two
maybe it's
brothers in
like
law.
calling someone by their mother's name.
I was shocked.
Sfardim do that.
It's- I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay, let's go.
Maybe there was some
And I asked
study.
him, who are you naming after?
Yeah.
He says, Yosef Atzadik isn't good enough for you?
Yeah, I know. Weird.
And so in the notes here, once I said
cute, I'm
it
not
says that
thinking
1933 the family moved officially to Częstochowa, and for Leah it says that she was registered from the Jbuv community registry. Once it said the Fuchses lived outside of Częstochowa
Yeah.
in Jbuv or Konopiska like 8 kilometers southwest
They
of
moved
town.
up in the world, is that what you're saying?
They moved from a small outskirts of Częstochowa into a Krzepice, the center of the universe, on the other side of
Exactly.
Częstochowa.
Can I ask a question? There was always a question, everyone said, my mum and everyone in the family said that Nana was older than Zeta. And they always said, hang on. They said she was born in 1895, 1894, Zeta was 1896. And yet now we see papers that said she was born in 1899. Was it 1899?
They were wrong.
So they were wrong. She just looked older than Zeta, probably. He maybe kept his looks a bit better.
And maybe she just wanted to have.
And maybe she got married very young, 1899. In when did they
How
get
old was
married?
1918. The marriage registry is also in Krzepice.
Okay,
She's
1918.
20.
Are we getting
She
these
was
records
she was 19.
We'll see them tomorrow.
Well, that
Yeah.
wasn't.
She
so
was
young.
19.
They didn't. She checked. She said we have it here, but I can't show it.
Zeta
So
was
you
3
don't
years
have those?
older.
I
than
don't
her.
have them,
Oh,
but
but
I
we
know
will
they're
set-
there.
And how will you? We'll just take copies of them tomorrow.
Well, just yeah.
How do you get it out?
If you want legal binding copies, you need to ask for it, and they can give you an extract. But it would be like a modern red kind of page with a stamp. If you need it for any legal reasons, the best thing I think would be just to photocopy the original because it has more information. Right, the original is this long.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful.
no,
It's,
yeah.
it's a great
So
book.
what if
Not us. It's for
we can ask for
this
both?
guy asked
But
me to
if you don't need it for any legal
Right,
reasons,
so I
just
wanted to show him
Yeah,
I did
no,
have
I'm
this.
just interested. to know
photocopy
how-
the original.
Yeah, okay.
I also showed you from the Biuro Meldunkowe, from the registry office of Częstochowa, the registries in Aleja number 20 for the family. And we started saying this, and you said Abraham Leib is not the.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know about you. We have here an Abraham Leib, son to Yosek and Chaya.
Could it be simply a mistake to identify him as being Jewish? Like the Abraham being they call men Jews Abraham and women Jews
Sarah.
But just a second. First, no. This is what's going on during the German occupation in Germany,
Right.
not here. But with another look, this is a person born 1915, parents Matis and Sura. So, accidentally, another Matitiau Ledelman who marries a Sura and has a son called Leib.
Oh, so it's not. No, it's not unbelievable.
And
it's
also
just
no, no.
cousins.
And they're living in Mostova number 9. It's a different address.
So it's not us.
Yes.
It's it could be some distant relative who's got common ancestors.
Whatever.
And married.
No, and I started
code,
saying this
whatever.
at the cemetery about Częstochowa Jews. There is a story that around 1815 to 1820, there is a Russian decree that people need to adopt last names, sometimes choose, sometimes to be given, and so on. And Częstochowa Jews are not really complying with this, and so they are assigned last names by the officials. And around 1850, there are 6 different last names for Jews. Like 1/4 of the population is Berman, another 1/5 of the population is Feldman. So like everyone are using the same names, and they aren't related, right? It's
Feldman is so many.
around 1820 or 1830, people got those last names, and now they all have the same last names, but the families are originally not connected. So
Was that a Napoleonic decree?
it was an adoption of the Napoleon Codex in this area, but it was done by the Russian government, and it was implemented in different areas of Poland.
I also heard that the Germans also implemented a rule, maybe at a different time, to force people to take surnames, and the names like Unglich and Goldberg were given to people almost to make fun of them It wasn't like they chose them. You were told you're Unglik, you're.
But Unglik and Goldberg has a very different connotation, right? Goldberg is kind of positive. Unglik kind of not.
Negative, yeah.
Yeah.
What's all glick mean?
Unhappy.
And unlucky.
No, but they call
Unlucky.
poorest people sometimes, the Germans, not the Germans in the war. I'm talking about when they were assigning names to make fun of a poor person, they call him Goldberg. Like, it's
Yeah.
like calling a person with no hair curly.
Yeah.
But first, Goldberg is also a very common name, not in German areas. A lot of Polish, Lederman is a name in German, but it was assigned to people living under the Russian occupation of Poland. So there is another theory that is quite common to first, once again, different things happen in different registry offices in different places and in different years. It's not very centralized bureaucracy where the Tsar is deciding something or the government in Berlin is deciding something, and at 1 second it is implemented in all the places the same way, right? There's not even telegraph services yet. Things are kind of slow, and people adopt things the way they understand it or misunderstand it and whatever. And there are some cases where people got last names that are clearly a mistake, and I won't get to it. I have a long speech about
Cohens and Levies who aren't Cohens and Levies.
no worse things. People that have names of the week, and or a person that was not a doctor and is called Gesundheit. And imagine someone waiting in line, and there's a clerk, and you're supposed to, and he asks you, what is your occupation, so we can give you a last name by the occupation, or where are your parents from, so we can give you, I don't know, this Krzepicki, Wrocławski, whatever. And the person there speaks only Yiddish, doesn't understand a word he's thinking, and he's asking, and he's answering Wednesday, Mittwoch.
Yeah.
So he gets the last name Mittwoch. Or someone is knitting, so he goes back and says Gesundheit, and he gets the name Gesundheit. And
That's the one
there's
called
not a
Gesundheit.
doctor in the family for ages, and the last name is Gesundheit.
Yeah.
You know that one, Joe?
Yeah.
Sean Ferguson?
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
I haven't met Sean Ferguson family, but I met Napshikshoni family. That is like a person who is nidchaf and pushing everyone around. I don't know what he did to get this
Like
name.
Shimshoni.
Napshikshoni.
No.
It's a family from Pilica. Only one family has this name
What
in
does
the
it-
world.
What does it mean?
Napshikshoni.
Pushes
Like
around.
pushes around. And it's from Pilica, where your family is. And the funny thing is, one branch of the family, a guy called Yechezkel, moved to Warsaw, was born in Warsaw, his father moved to Warsaw, and then he came to Israel in the 1920s. And it's Napshikshoni, no one can write it. He writes it in Hebrew, and he takes the first letter, Nun, Pei, Shin, Yud, and it's Nafshi.
Lovely.
It sounds really nice,
Yeah.
and so on and so on. But in Polish, Wsi is a village. Nafshi is like on the countryside. And people are saying, Yechezkel, you're from Warsaw. What are you Nafshi? Like,
Yeah.
you're not a village guy. So even when he tries to Israelicize it, it's done strangely. I want to go to another subfolder called Vital Records. And as I showed you before, those are kind of those nice records that has a story. I did not translate all of this because it's a lot of work, but I extracted the important information, and it's on your. The important information is on on this. If there is an exact date of birth, a day and a month, I wrote it down. If there is a big difference between the date of the because this happens in a year, but sometimes people get married and they're registered, they're married in the civil registry office 20 years after, or register births year after, and it happens here, right? You have, if you would look at 1358, you see that Yosek, the younger brother of Leib from the second wife, is born 1909, but he's registered in 1911. So
Isn't it about Wolf?
No.
The younger brother from a second marriage is Wolf.
No, we're talking about 1358, 1357 there. Born in 1909, registered
But
1911.
his name was.
His name was Wolf and he was born in 1904.
There is a yeah. It's a miss. Yes, those are double things, and I need to correct it. Yes, because I need to move Kyla here. And I think there are duplicates. In one place, it looks that he was in the book of residence. It says born 1904, and in the registry it says 1909.
Okay.
I know that Wolf was my father's favourite uncle because he seemed to be close to him. Also, he was very close to Hannah Fuchs's husband. He was the Fuchs. He was the first cousin of Nana. So there must have been. Who was the father of Nana? Which Fuchs? Asher Anshul. Yeah, was the Asher Anshul was the
Father of Leah.
father of Leah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
son of Tzvi.
Yeah, Asher Anshul had a brother, and the son of that brother was Zalman, and he died just before you were born, Zalman. So it's possible you were named after two people in the family: the Zalman on the Letterman side, Zalman of Ashna, but also Zalman Fuchs.
Can I ask another question? My in-laws are from Volborn, and my father-in-law always said that there was a Letterman who was born in Volborn in his time. He was born in 1913. Do you have any connection? Is there any way that the data you have there connects to any of that?
So Josek Matis was born in Volborn, 1863. He had siblings.
How many
Right.
siblings did he have?
3, 4, 5.
That we know of, and plus two
And
others.
so
who-
some were still involved.
No. The two others,
Oh,
those
the
are
next
his
generation.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are some in Volbrom still, and they're the ones that your father-in-law
Would
Your-
identify,
was
but we don't know
identified.
them here.
I'll show you.
It's interesting that Volbrom, the Pakinovskis were from, Volbrom,
Well, both.
and the Lettermans were
Both.
from.
Both of them.
To search,
Came
I
from
used different sources, but a great source is JRI Poland. This is an American-based organization that indexes vital records, Jewish vital records from Poland.
What's it called?
JRI Poland. JRI
JRI.
stands for Jewish Record Indexing, and when you can put on a last name and search, and you get results from every gubernia area in Poland.
Well,
And then the outcome is usually such a table that you can see that in 1880, in Krzepice, 1885, there is a marriage registry for Sur Aaron Kleinowski with Simcha Leah Lederman. Sometimes it gives you more details like parents' names and so on, and sometimes the index is quite thin. So I used this index and then went to the archives in Częstochowa, looked at the records, and in cases that I suspected are of the family, I filled this, and you have the fuller information about each record.
so if I wanted to extend it to Volborn, would you be able to continue that exercise for me?
Yes, and I just wanted to show you, because here, there should be,
You might find you're really Hindi's third cousin.
so in Volbrom, the
Explain why our kids turned out the way.
at least the one until 1870, look at this, the records are quite full.
Certainly their sense
Take
of
that
humour.
out.
I'm stopping. 40